There we go. We're live right now. Alrighty, we're here with Mr. Luke Limelight, Michelli, C, and myself. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just gonna get it going. We just warmed up a little bit, but my man Luke just give everybody a little bit of an introduction before I get into some of the topics that I
I
wanted to
got
get
you.
through, and then we'll go there.
Everybody out there, Luke Crowder, Grammy Award winning, Billboard #1 platinum producer from Birmingham, Alabama. You know, all about the production life, all about being a gate opener instead of a gatekeeper.
Amazing, man. Really
There you
appreciate you
go.
coming on. I know there's a lot of gems to get forward. Chelly and C, if you guys want to jump in quickly, go ahead.
You just broke up. I couldn't hear you.
I just said if you guys wanted to give a little bit quick introduction. I know everyone's already heard of you guys already, but as well, again, appreciate you guys for coming on. Let everyone hear your voice right quick, and then you guys can hop in the back.
Yeah. Michelli here, man. Representative of Gutta Muzik. You know, it's all about Luke Crowder today. You know what I'm saying? We got our boy in the building, and
You already
it's gonna be a good one.
that part. See Gutter in the building. Gutter music on. You already know it's all about Luke Crowder. Birmingham in the building. Let's go.
Birmingham in the building, gutter music alumni.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh man, it's gonna be a crazy year for Ghana music as a whole, and it's been a crazy few decades. That's why our goal is to keep talking about the story, man. And that's that. We already had a little bit of a test run with that first Twitter space, and we're gonna keep doing more of these conversations. But again, today's all
Yeah,
about my man Luke. But before we jump into the heart of your career and the music scene, let's start at the beginning, man. Could you tell us how like your early come up environment, growing up in Alabama, Birmingham, the origins? Run us through the origins. How did that influence you and your career so far in the
yeah,
music scene?
man. Yeah, Birmingham is very much a cornerstone of just me in production, man. Grew up, my mom sung, sings in church. And she always told me you have to do something. You can't just be in church and not do anything. So learning how to play piano, learning how to play drums, and just going from there, man. Started out with a group called SWAT Team Productions, which was me, my brother, and one of my close friends, DJ Quez Cousteau. And it just grew. It grew from there, man. These were eras of like so this was like trap music. It is hype,
Prime.
in
Right.
the end. So yeah, man. Just started in Birmingham. Got on the local scene real hard. Had a few songs that got on the radio. One that actually got in Source magazine, Fat Tapes back in the day. And just grinded out, man, until, years past that, finally found a niche that worked for me and was able to propel off of that.
Nah, amazing, man. Would you say there was any specific figures, not maybe locally, but as a whole, that you looked up to growing up, and kind of that made a really big influence on your sound specifically, or how you went about your career?
Yeah, I would say, man, it's a few of them, man. Like, I don't think I try to just pinpoint one person, but it's certain things about a lot of people I like. Of course, Pharrell is a GOAT. Timbaland is a GOAT. Manny Fresh. I grew up on all these guys. Man, even people like Quincy Jones, Prince, Jermaine Dupri.
All
You
right.
know, even on the gospel side, you have like Fred Hammond, Kurt Franklin. There's elements to everybody's thing that's just like super unique. And I try to take little ideas from each one and see what tools I can implement in my own stuff. So yeah,
No,
man.
absolutely, man. And for myself, like when I first ran into you and your music and your page, like if you obviously like about a year back now,
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
noticed was the influence of the soul music, man. Like, and I think that comes from again where you grew up and the environment that you're around. That's why I think, and it has the passion that it has behind.
yeah, man. I think just growing up in the church, you get used to certain sounds and music that influence people internally.
Mhm.
A lot of music is dance, but then a lot of music is actually what hits your soul, what makes people want to actually be in tune with, a greater cause. So yeah, church played a big move into it, man. And just, just things that I just acquired and liked over the years, man. Soundtrack music. My parents were very eclectic with their records that they picked. So you would have Prince, you would have Steely Dan, you would have Olivia Newton-John, but then you would have like Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder. So I was able to hone in what I already knew from the environments I was in, but then have like a array of different sounding music. So it kept me on my toes, kept me keen on what was going on.
Would you say that's really something that was super important for how versatile you became as a producer, as a songwriter as well?
Yeah, I would, man. I think you really get inspired by what people present to you. And if I didn't have all these different sounds of music with what I was already doing and, the gospel aspect of just being in church and then, just learning piano from, different piano piano teachers, it kept me from not being in a box. And
Yeah,
I
no,
think I really got to shout out to people that did. My mom and dad, and there's so many other people, but yeah, it kept me
yeah,
from
close
not letting my
family.
environment be my only thing that I heard.
Right.
Yeah, no, man, gotta shout out the OGs.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned that when you first got your first big radio record, and for myself, I think one thing that I realized is a really big key for anyone in any industry coming up is being able to look at somebody and learn from their mistakes and learn from at least ways that they do things better, compared to the process that you had back in the day when you were first shooting to land a big project or a big record, compared to how you approach big projects now, like the opportunities you had to work with, major artists like Killer Mike and Drake. Like, how did you approach the process back then creatively, and how do you approach it now?
I think creatively starting out, you only have a small template because you're saying, I want to be a producer. I want to do this. I want to do that. But then I think the biggest thing, man, is you got to get out of your comfort zone, which most times means you got to travel. And I
Mm-hmm.
would say starting out, going to like Atlanta because Birmingham is a small scene. We have like a really, really niche music scene. We're not growing as fast as like Atlanta or Florida or New York or LA. So one of the big things was getting out of my comfort zone, going to these other powerhouse music states, learning from the people that are actually doing it. When I come back, I have more knowledge about it. So there was one thing that I had to learn when I was younger, like being inside your house, being in one location, you're not going to be fit and tested for the world.
Mm-hmm.
So now the way I approach stuff now is knowing that I got to leave, but I can come back, or knowing that there's certain people that move a certain way in the industry, and if you're not following the rubric or the actual laws of the land, you're not going to make it. There's certain things that you have to do. So I believe in real relationships build real results, and I'm a testament of getting out, meeting new people, and then building, from what I know with these people.
Man, that's huge, but I actually didn't think you were gonna take it
Hey
to that
man, hey,
take it
this
to
is
that
what we do
direction.
over
But
here,
that's
man.
huge. No, that's huge, bro. Because I feel like right now, especially with what's happening in the industry, like at so many producers, and even what we're doing right now, I know it promotes people being behind the screen more, but it's because we're trying to get a message out there, and
Yeah,
most people are behind the screen. But being able to see the other side of it and realize the real industry, the real stuff that's happening, and if you want to take that next step, stepping out of your comfort zone is not always just sonic. It's actually a physical thing that you have to
true. True. That's
Right.
that's one of the big steps, man. I'm getting where I am now and still being kind of new in like, 3 years in the music industry. I'm very big of being what I call no face, no case. Like I want to be behind the scenes, but if you really want to work, you got to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a basketball player, you can't say, "Oh, I don't want to do free throws." You got
Right.
to shoot. So the only way you do that is by going out to get the work. You
no,
can still
100.
be yourself, and people respect you if you still go out your comfort zone and show them your talent. Your talent's all
No,
there. We all have talent, but if you
yep.
don't get out, how are we going to know that you have talent?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's huge, man. Even that point about talent really kind of leads me to the next thing I was going to talk about: being around different kind of energies, different people, different frequencies. How do you navigate those collaborative dynamics when working with artists or other producers, even though it might be different dynamics, but ensuring that you guys still get to the final vision that you're looking for?
Yeah. One thing that I think I've learned over the past few years is that you got to act like you've been to the party before. And really what that means, and everybody out there, y'all going to know that I use a lot of analogies, but if you go to a party or a kickback, if you're the person just in the corner on your phone and you're not engaging nobody, nobody wants to engage you. But if you go in, say hey to people, dap them up, get you a little bit of punch or drink or whatnot. Go say hey to this crowd of people you haven't met yet. Just ask them a little bit about themselves. Move on, see who's DJing. You know, people are going to be more acceptable to you because they believe like, hey, he knows how to conduct himself in these rooms. So try to match energy. You know, it's okay if you don't like to talk. It's okay if you like to be a little more about business. But if you see people with energy moving around, move around a little bit. You know, you don't have to be awkward. Yeah, that's dope, but jam with them a little bit. Let them know that what they're feeling is not just them, that you're feeling it too. So I'm big about reading the room, act like you've been in a party before. And the more you engage with people, you know that they're humans just like you. You know,
Yep.
all these big name artists, all these big name producers, they want to go to Walmart and get food sometimes too. They don't want to be at Noble all the time. Sometimes they just want to get in their car, go to a park and chill. So my thing is, if that's the case and we're all humans, we got to have human interaction. It might not be, oh, I'm a big fan of yours, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes it might be, man, how was your day? Oh, word, really? Cool. Shoot, I do the same thing on Mondays. Sometimes they just want regular interaction. And
Right.
sometimes when we forget that, we make them feel like they're just in their own corner of the world and in a cage while we're just gawking at them. If you notice, all the other celebrities get around other celebrities. It's like a fraternity. It's not even like, oh, you're that person. It's like, hey, man, what's up? Are we going out this place on Friday to this studio? All right, see you there. People want human interaction. So you can't be fearful in anything that you're in. Act like you've been to the party before and just be a human. Just be a human. It
Nah,
will go so far for you.
absolutely, man. Especially again, like I said, too many bedroom producers that don't take a step outside of it, even though it's a great thing to be there. But I think the overall context of what I got from that is being adaptable. Like even though you
Yes.
can be yourself, match people's energies and be adaptable. But before we move on to the next thing, I gotta go back to
Yeah.
the Walmart thing for a second. Was there any specific artist? You don't gotta say names. But was that a specific example that came from the
I
Walmart?
can't say that this was a specific example, but man, like you'd be surprised, man. Like way back in the day, I met Lloyd. Me and like one of my producer brothers was there, and he was like, "Oh, Alabama? I've been to Alabama before. It was this girl, blah blah blah, A&M, which was a college." And my brother was like, "I think I know her sister." And it was just one of those regular conversations. He's like,
Right.
"Yeah, sister's real bad, ain't it?" And we built that relationship from there. It wasn't just, "Oh, you're Lloyd. We're good. We're good. We're good. We love this song that you got." We
Yeah, for the
found
people who
something
don't
that we
know,
could connect on, and it
let them
just
know who
worked
it is.
out.
Yeah, no, I get absolutely, man. For the people who don't know, let them know who Lord is.
Oh man, you know, if you like Lil Wayne, you might know this song. She's fine too, and I love you. Stuff like that. That guy. You know, I can't sing, so don't take it against me, people.
And no, man, that shit
But
was coming
Murder
through. Might
Inc.
have to
Yeah,
get you on the track. Might have to get you on the mic one
man.
time.
We ain't gonna be selling no more
Tune
records
him up.
on the track, man.
With the vocals.
Yeah.
But speaking of the new kids and the new generation, what kind of trends are you currently seeing in the music production world, and how do you yourself stay either ahead of them by not following the trends, or how do you adapt to the trends? If you talk about adaptability, how do you approach that?
I think some of the new trends are a lot of these younger artists or younger producers, everybody's using the same type of sounds. You know, you'll see arcade. Everybody loves arcade. You know,
Uh-huh.
sometimes you'll see Omnisphere and maybe Scorch. All those are great tools, but if we're all using them the same way, we can't get nothing new from it. You know, I think also a lot of tracks are tailor made for only like maybe 5 artists in the game. Young Boy, Dirk, uh,
Drake.
Rod Wave, Future, and maybe I don't know,
Drake.
Playboy Cardi. So yeah, you feel me? Or Drake. And that's good. But if you're not listening to other music outside of those realms, you're gonna miss out on all these new artists that get signed like every
Yep.
month that need a new sound. So I think it's good to learn and use stuff that everybody else is using, but then you gotta start acquiring your own too. And I think that one thing that I've learned is that you gotta start trying to figure out your own sound.
Uh-huh.
One thing I believe in is knowledge. You got to pay for knowledge. You got to go and search for knowledge. And then once you get the knowledge in front of you, you got to implement the knowledge. Timbaland only sounds like Timbaland. Metro
Right.
only sounds like Metro. So if you're going into the game and you're sending out tracks, or you say this is a Metro beat, this is a what's his name, ATL Jacob beat. They can go to ATL Jacob for those beats. Why would they come to you? And that's not me trying to down anything, but you got to make
It's
your own
reality.
style. You got to make them want you, because if you and ATL Jacob come to the same studio and you only got ATL Jacob beats, they're going to ATL Jacob. What
Yep.
makes you different from everybody else? Everybody's cooking pizza. If ATL Jacob is pepperoni, you better learn how to have pineapples and ham or something else like that. But the uniqueness of you is going to make you the person that you want to be. Don't conform to what somebody else is doing. Learn from them, because there might be some tools that you can have, but whatever you do, make it get better. If you find out that somebody does real good a certain way, learn how they did that, but now implement it your way. So I think, and I probably went through the question a whole different route, but
No, you
what
did. That was good, man.
but what I believe that I've learned is that you learn from what's out now, because you're in today. You can't be in the future. You're in here today. Learn
Right.
what people are using today, but then implement your own stuff within that. And then you'll find your style and you'll have people come to you for what you're doing.
No, man, you did it. I think that was an amazing overview. Actually, I think you kind of painted both pictures of towing both lines. Follow the
Yeah.
trends to learn from what's happening and be able to be like growing all the time with new techniques and everything that's happening. But you have to be yourself in order for people to
Hey
accept you,
man,
in order for you to
if we
keep
if we
going.
got all these Model T Fords out there, learn how to make a Chrysler. But you got
Yep.
to learn how to make the car first. Once you learn how
Yeah.
to make the car, you can make a Ferrari.
Yeah, and one thing that was really key you mentioned was like investing into yourself and paying for knowledge. As
Yeah.
someone who's been even though you've been in the game for 3 years, you've been in the game for learning knowledge for a lot longer than that. Where would you say is the best place you found knowledge? Was it from mainstream people that were trying to sell those up price courses, or was it people who you found really passionate that really took the time to put proper value behind things? Where would you think is the best knowledge to pay for?
So I think the best knowledge to pay for comes from people that have done it, but people that can become mentors. One of the biggest mentors that I've had in my starting years was this engineer by the name of James Bevel. James is very much, I think he almost has an EGOT. I know he has an Oscar, a Grammy, an Emmy, some other award. Like, he's worked with Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Kurt Franklin. The World Games that came down, he was the engineer that engineered all the music for it,
Wow.
from Birmingham. When he let me into his space because I was working on an artist, he told me, "Hey, your 808s are way too high. Turn this shit down." And I wasn't offended, because I was in a place that I wasn't used to, around people that could change my life. So instead of trying to be uptight and prideful and all this stuff, I learned. My whole situation was, if I'm getting free knowledge, take the free knowledge. And if he's going to allow you to come back, because I believe in R&R, real relationships build real results. Go back to that
Mm.
person, you know. And it's crazy. If you're on a path, you're going to start meeting the right people as you go. It's just really, how are you going to keep that chance to see them again? Be a human.
Yep.
If out there once, don't take 3 months out the way to go talk to them again. Talk to them 2 weeks later. So now it's not just, hey, I'm Luke from that party, blah, 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 5 months ago. They're not going to remember that shit. But if you say, hey, this was Luke. Oh, yeah, you was there last week. Now they have something to go by. And now y'all can kind of build a relationship, and you can get the knowledge from that person. And they're going to think that you're a human now, instead of just calling for one thing that you want.
That's big time, man. I think
Yeah.
people gotta take that, man. Real results from real
Yeah,
relationships.
real
That's how it
real
has to
relationships
Yeah,
build real.
R&R. I
real
caught that.
results.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
R&R.
That's
Like
gold,
that.
man. That's a gold. That's a gold one because no, man. Like people need to start realizing that it can't just be you behind a screen, or even if you meet people in real life, just asking them for a favor and doing, or either doing a favor and expecting something in return, just like that. It needs to
Yeah.
be a constant evolution of a back and forth, like a ping pong. That's how you build the foundation. You keep going back and forth, and you build something nice, something
Can
beautiful.
I say something about that?
For sure.
And I'm long-winded. I'll make this as short as I can.
I love it.
Gutta is by far my biggest mentor in this music game. We met online. Like he's from Mississippi. I was working on artists from Mississippi. I hit him up through DMs like, hey, I know this same artist from Mississippi would love to send you some stuff. Like, okay, cool. Send him a few things. One, I was ready. I let my music, it was evolved enough to where I could send it out to somebody. But he said, hey, is this all you? You got these horns on? It worked. After I sent some stuff to him, he was like, okay, like what you
Hold
got.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. See, go ahead and hit that mute button for us one
Oh,
time, buddy.
Got you.
It sounds like you got the top down.
hey, it was the feds, man. It was the feds right there. But from me sending him some stuff, we started a chat where we were going back and forth. It became a thing to where he was like, I love what you're doing. Send me some more stuff. I was ready to send him some more stuff. But in between that, if he's posting about Jordans, I might say, man, those are whack. But now we're getting a more human relationship. And it got to the point to where he was like, hey, I'm out in LA and Atlanta sometimes. I'm in LA right now. If you ever want to come down. As soon as he said that, I've already been planning my stuff. I said, hey, I'll see you in 2 days.
Damn.
That might have been like one of the weirdest reactions, but this is somebody that I was working with that's a very high caliber person. I knew this person could also change my life. So building a real human connection. And then when he said, hey, let's meet up, not taking a month or 2 or 3, actually getting on it right then. And that led to me having the first time in the studio with him. He's seeing that I'm chill. I'm seeing that he's chill. He said, come back tomorrow. Came back tomorrow, worked out, and I was back in Birmingham. But a few days later, hey, I'm back in Atlanta. If you ever want to pull up, hey, I'll be there in 2 days. Building that relationship and not letting it just be a one-off. That's
Right.
a very important situation. And that has garnered us being to where I can call him up about stuff I'm dealing with. He can give me knowledge. I can call him and crack on him about having a new girl in his life or whatnot. I'm talking too much. I'm snitching. My bad. But no, I'm just saying, we've built a human relationship, to where I can call him and it's not going to be an inconvenience to him. But it started with me reaching out and not just wanting to send music, because I want to send music. That's a given. But now I can go check on him. I met his parents the first time I went to Atlanta because I had a human relationship and he trusted me around his people. So there you go.
I think he want to jump in, so I'll let him jump in.
Nah, that's real. That's some real shit. Luke, man, he consistent with it, bro. That was just one thing that made me fall in love with it, with the whole situation. It was just like, you know what I mean. He already knew where I was with it, with the consistency. You know what I mean. I didn't have to say too much. I didn't have to ask too much from him. He already know he delivered. You know what I'm saying. And that drive from coming from Birmingham to Atlanta, he didn't hesitate with it. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I think that's huge. Even though he said it was, it might have been weird. I think to you it showed next level dedication, and don't mind me for saying, but next level balls. Like most people go take a back seat and be like, well, I'll see how this goes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'll push it off to the back burner. I'll push it off to the back burner. But yeah, as someone who's also been around the industry for a little bit, what would you say is the best advice you would give someone that's coming up in terms of legality wise in a world of AI, in a world of copycats, in a world of music being everywhere? How hesitant are you to send music out? Is that also one of the reasons why you like to work in person? Because for myself, that's a huge reason.
Yeah, I'll say this, being that I am from Birmingham, you'll always, and before I had a chance to really get out, you have to realize that people are going to say send stuff if you can't get out to these locations. So my biggest thing is, and this is just real, one, if you want to get to the next level, you got to do next level stuff. And you got to have a lawyer. Regardless of what everybody tells you, have you a lawyer. Have you somebody that can give you this legal information. But at the same time, I would say keep a paper trail. If you
Mm.
can't keep a paper trail, how do people know that you did something? all those emails that you have, all your files, you have dates on those files. So you know when you're sending it out to people, you know when you created it. Make sure that you can keep a paper trail of everything that you've actually done. But also realize that what you don't know is your fault. It is really messed up, but this is the wild, wild west. What you don't know is your fault. So that's why you find somebody that has legal representation, or find your own legal representation. Get the knowledge. You got to pay for knowledge. Sometimes it won't come free. And it's sad that that's the case. But if you can spend $500 on the new Jordan pack, you can spend $200 with setting up a consultation with somebody. A lot of the times that we have obstacles is because we've put those obstacles in front of us. Hey, I want to lose weight. The answers are usually 3 answers: sleep better, work out, drink water. I want to know. I want to know everything I need to know on the legal side of stuff. Find you a lawyer. Start reading stuff that you find that deals with legalities. And then make sure that you keep yourself to where you have backtracking logs. Like, you can find these answers. You just can't put something in front of you and say, oh, it's going to cost this much. Maybe you got to work an extra shift. But getting back to the whole answer in place, make sure that you have a paper trail. Whatever you send out, data folder. Any email that's important, make it important. Put a star by it. Make sure you have the date. Make sure you have the date when you actually made the thing as well. But between that just being stuff you can do yourself, make sure you find some legal counsel as well.
Huge, man, huge. And I just want to split it up into 2 different things too. You were talking about people wanting to take that next step to that next level. Would you say there's also a misconception for people who are starting out their careers in terms of feeling like when you're at the starting point, ground zero, do you think that's a good time to be paying for knowledge? Or do you think that's a good time for you to find the most affordable way for you to get knowledge at an efficient rate and get yourself to another level?
So ground level, first thing you have to realize is that you have to sharpen your tools. A lot of people believe 5 beats, I'm ready for the big leagues. No, you have to go through the process of honing your craft, making sure that you're not the only person that likes it, making sure that it can actually be, better to somebody on a higher caliber. I believe starting out, you can get this knowledge without having to pay for it. YouTube University is right there. Sometimes the biggest problem is that people don't want to read. We got Chat GPT that you can load up on your phone and say, what do I need to know about publishing or royalties? The problem is we don't like to take that extra step. And if you're not going to take the extra step, why do you think you're going to get extra benefits? It baffles me sometimes. But, start off to where something that you can do ground based first. You can do Chat GPT. You can go online and find websites that give you legalities. But when it's time to move on, or you get your placement that's kind of big, find some legal counsel. You just got to. Put it like this: we play 2K or all these video games all day. We're not looking at fine print that says through the universe and sync license this and that. This is stuff that we don't understand because we're not professionals at it. We might be professional at playing video games, but we are not professional at looking at a contract and reading it all the way through and knowing what everything means. So get you some legal representation when you get to that next level up. But beforehand, you got Chat GPT, you got YouTube, you got books you can read. Do the extra work to get the extra things in life.
Yep.
No, absolutely, man, and kind of again transition me pretty well into the technology aspect of everything. Do you think first of all, I want to start talking about AI a little bit, but before that, do you think there's any technology that you think is indispensable, as in it can't ever be replaced? What do you think would be some of it,
Man,
music production wise?
I think there's certain stuff that you just feel that feels right. You can't get that from a machine. A machine is going to tell you what they believe feels right at the moment. But knowing what something just really feels, it just, a vibe of something. Your first time hearing like Father Stretch My Hands, from Kanye, when you just get that beginning of it with the sample coming in, and it just dun, 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 something big is going to happen. And the reason why something big is happening is because it's never been duplicated before. This is the first moment we get of this thing. AI cannot give you. The human aspect is something real. So don't take it for granted. There's other songs. Whenever you hear Swag Surf come on, it's going to be a party. AI can interpret what they believe a party feels like, but when you hear certain things, that it sounds good. So don't ever discount your own feelings of things, because it's
Yeah.
there. We're making music for humans, so the human side of you is going to feel certain things.
So
Imagine making soul music with no soul.
There you go.
I was just gonna say that. So what you're pretty much saying is like anything to come with live instrumentation can never be replaced, regardless of how much people try.
Live instrumentation, mistakes. Like, there
Yeah.
are certain things that happen on mistake that just sound right because you graced over something. You going back and using that aspect of being a human is amazing. But like I said,
Yeah.
with live instruments, like, they're gonna make some type of machine that can give you the thing that's closest to that. But the fact that somebody has to hit a note a certain way is gonna be, you can't take that away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you say, yeah, like I was just trying to get to that thing, same point, man. The simple fact is the soul. If the if it don't got a soul, there's gonna be something missing. And to the
Yeah, man.
blind ear, maybe not, but to all of us, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I feel like it's just mostly based off of mathematics. You know what I'm saying? It's just like equations and shit that they've, simplified to mathematics, and you know what I mean? It's not, there's no soul, like you say, there's no feeling, there's no, yeah, no beautiful accidents, like none of that.
Yeah, true.
Has there been any stuff that's popped up on your guys' both of your feeds that, even though you guys have trained ears, it threw you off of how realistic it was when it comes to the AI stuff? And does it give you a little bit of a scare when it comes to the next 2 years, both visual and audio wise? I'm talking both
Man,
AI.
all of it, man. Mid Journey, to where they're making faces and stuff. And when it first came out, you'll see like I'll be one way, or they'll have like three
Right.
extra fingers.
Yeah.
But even like that song that had like AI Drake and the
Yep.
Weeknd on it. I'm not gonna say it. Some of that scares me because we're gonna have a lot of deep fake stuff happening.
Yep.
But at the same time, I think it's beautiful for the people that use it as tools, but it's gonna be really confusing for people that believe it to be the end all be all. And what I mean by that is, let's say a writer is trying to reference a song for Drake. He can go put a Drake voice on it and it makes sense. Or I can go work with the Weeknd. I can write a song for the Weeknd, have his voice on it. Now he understands what I was going with the track. So
Right.
I believe that AI is a tool, but not the end all be all to what's going to happen with technology. So hey, if it might use a different, they're gonna have an AI for making drums, which they probably already do because they got ones for melodies. But what
Right.
if you hear something out of that you can say, "I love this piece. Let me add it to my human side of it."
Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are going to last are the people that are going to realize that technology doesn't hinder you; it only helps your situation. But it's only going to do that if you allow it to do that.
Yo,
And we're
it's just a tool.
yeah. Hey, I put it like this: people were mad when they started putting all these different rules in basketball. We got a 3-second rule right here. We got the 3-point line is at this point now. Like, learn how to get better. Steph Curry is shooting more 3-pointers than everybody else because he didn't look at it as a hindrance. He looked at it as a challenge and he got past it. AI, as much as it can be bad, can be good as well. You got to decide what you're going to use it for or what you're not going to use it for.
Right.
100. And kind of going back to what you're saying about the people obviously coming up who might be spending a little bit more time playing video games or whatever the case may be. Do you think those kind of people should kind of bow down to whether it's AI or the saturated market, quote unquote? Or would you say it's important, even though you might be starting out, to realize if you want to grow, you need to diversify your skills and interests within the industry? What kind of skills and interests do they need to develop?
You do have to diversify. I think everybody has a different entry point with their talents. And you might be better than some people with your talent, but you can't be hard work. You have to learn that and it goes back to knowledge. One, you gotta be a hard worker. You gotta be consistent.
Mhm.
You gotta gain new knowledge. So if you're right here and you don't know how to play any type of keys, you don't know how to play any type of drums, learn a little bit. That doesn't mean be the best at something with it, but learn the aspect around it. Like, if I'm We can go back to basketball because I guess that's what I'm using right now. If the only thing you do is shoot threes, try to figure out why people do post-up moves or layups or they run screens. All this is going to help you in the end with what you already do. I put it like this. There's so many producers out there that don't know how to play keys. I know how to play keys, so I might have an advanced side on the key side, but they might be really good at something else that I'm not good at. They might know how to make hooks. So instead of me just saying, I'm going to stick to what I know, I might need to sit with them or I might need to see what they're doing differently for them to get to the next level. You know, you have talents. Rely on your talents, but grow your talents as well. If it's a fucking flower, the way you grow it and putting water on it is by getting the knowledge of, oh, I can add this hard work. Oh, I can add this piece of my environment that I try my best not to look at and put something towards it. The reason why we like the greats is because they do great shit. They're good at what they do, but then we see them evolve and get bigger and better every time.
Yep.
No, absolutely. I think another very common theme in this whole conversation is towing that line. The industry is a lot of towing the line and walking the thin
Man,
rope of
yes,
back and forth from both sides, right? Towing the line of being able to be on this side, but also tap into the other side
yes,
as well. Now,
true.
speaking about towing the line, can you, as much as you want to open up, I'd love to hear for yourself. I think a big hurdle for producers and artists is the financial realities of it.
Yeah,
When you work in a day job, how much did you take? How much did you have to save up before you transitioned to music full time? And how much were you looking to make from music in a stable way before you made the transition? I feel like it's a very gray area. People don't like
yeah,
to talk about it as much, but it's so important, man, because you can't just give everything up and
yeah.
right?
Well, I tell people like this. I'm very much an open book, but I'm also somebody that believes in having a plan. You know, I can get on the whole spiritual side, and I'm not going to go too far into it. But
Another conversation.
there's another conversation. But there's a scripture that says write it down plain on tablets so you can hasten to it. If you are stuck in your phone all day with notes, you might lose your phone. It might be somewhere else, but if you're writing something down, you have to start becoming responsible for the ownership. So one thing that I would say is when it comes to towing the line and figuring out the plan, for me, I worked in the hospital for 5 years leading up to me getting to major industry, major placements. I wrote down a plan. I said, I got to do all these things. You know, I got to get all these other pieces of the puzzle so I can move on. When it came to money, when I was getting my first few placements, I said, this is good. And I want to jump off, but I don't know if I can yet. But then, you know, I started saying to myself, for me to be able to get off my job and do this full time, because a lot of things were coming in. My first Billboard #1, I was still working at the hospital.
Mm.
So what I had to do was, and this is just for me, I started noticing, you know, working more, you know, with Gutta Muzik, bam, gang, gang, gang.
You did.
We had other placements in line, but I told myself I need to save up at least 3 months worth of paychecks, 3 months worth of paying all my bills to where I don't have to worry about these 3 months. So when I do jump off, I know I got 3 months more energy into what I wanted to do. So I knew there was some other placements in place. I didn't know how the money was going to come at that time, but the money I saved up when I got off my job and I had 3 months saved up, I knew there was some stuff in the pipeline that was going to come. But I didn't worry about the money side. Then I started worrying about my grind. I need to be out in these places. I need to hit these people. I can't sit down, you know, like after work and then just be like, I'm going to sleep or I'm going to play the video game. Now I had to cut off certain things to make other things work. The law of equivalent exchange, you know, and if you I'm big on like anime and stuff like that. So Full Metal Alchemist, the law of equivalent exchange is that you got to give up something of equal value or energy to get something else that you want. I had to cut off playing video games every fucking day or going out to play, you know, to the parties and stuff and saving my money for 3 months so I can get off my job, to be able to approach music the way that I needed to. Because one thing, music is the wild, wild west. But if you don't have a plan, you're not going to make it working on the other side of it.
Man, that's so big time, bro. That's so big time for everyone to actually understand is that you can do both. You can be working a job, you can come home, you do have extra hours. It depends on how you want to spend it. Obviously, there
Exactly.
is special cases and special scenarios where people have to take care of, family members and things like that. But those are also the people that usually end up finding some sort of a way to make it happen, though. So,
Man, you can do anything that you want to do. It's just about what are you going to give up so you can do the thing that you really, you really want, thing you want to grasp.
yeah. And I think the big part also was the formula you gave without giving it any sort of a number, which is great. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say is make sure you guys have whatever your formula is for your expenses, for rent, for bills, for whatever it is.
Yeah,
You have 3 months in advance. And I would probably say a little bit on top because emergency stuff always happens,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like and a little bit extra on top before you can say, okay, let's do this transition. Let's move forward.
I think
Aside
what
from that,
people,
yeah, go for it, go for it.
I think what people think is that one thing can change your life. Yes, it can, but then it's a onset of other things after that. Of course, you can get in the game and make a really big song, but what happens if you're not able to do it again right off the
Mm-hmm.
bat? And it takes 5 extra more months or 6 extra more months. Of course, bank on your talent, but also bank on proper pre-planning prevents piss poor performance. The 6 P's of life. Proper pre-planning prevents piss poor performance, which means plan on the fact that you're jumping out, but also have that safety net.
Yep.
What
Man, you're giving
happens?
too many golden nuggets, bro, right now. Too many
Hey
gold. You
man,
gotta put that on a t-shirt, man. I gotta
there
get
you
you to start.
go.
Nah, that's amazing, man. And in terms of that, I know we spend a lot of time talking about radio hits and billboard hits, which are again amazing achievements. But for yourself, how would you say you were able to navigate, like you said, sometimes where those hits don't come or the big placements don't come? How are you diversifying your income when it comes to the music stuff? What tips would you give
Yeah.
on that end?
So I'll preface this to everybody out there. Payment in the game is not clear cut as you think it's going to be. It's not going to be, I make a hit, I get a contract, I get paid, it comes out. Sometimes it can be all over the place to where you make a hit, you don't have a contract for 4 months, then you get a contract, and then 3 months later, you get, there's net 30s, net 60s, next, which
Right.
means like with a net 30, you don't get paid 30 days until the contract is signed and assisted.
Yep.
This could be completely different. Sometimes it'll be a situation to where a hit that you do that comes out in November, you might not get paid until February of next year. So what
Yep.
you have to do is leverage your talent. That's one thing you can always do is leverage your talent. What this means is, let's say you had one song that blew up, but now you're waiting for other checks and stuff to come. Why don't you throw something in your city like a beat battle? Or why don't you have a master class? Or why don't you talk to somebody that doesn't understand and say, hey, I have a one-on-one session with you for X amount of dollars. These are other steps that you can do. You can make a sample pack and sell it then. People saw what you did, and people now want to figure out how you did it. Leverage your talent. It's there for you. And then what happens is after you have another stream, when the big stuff start coming back around, you scoop that up and then find another way to leverage it. But if you don't have the accreditations, leverage your talent. You have something to give. If you can't give, not everybody wants steak all the time. You might have motherfucking lettuce. Go start a go start a vegan shop until you can get the steak to put in there and start your own Chipotle. But use what you have first. So if you're really good at camera work and you can make videos to, hey, before this check comes in, let me leverage what I'm already doing really well because somebody wants to see it.
Yep.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
when it comes to getting paid in this game, you can count on the bullshit. It's coming.
It's
You know
Yeah.
good.
what I mean?
So,
So prepare yourself. Like you're more surprised when there's no bullshit. You know what I mean? And it goes smoothly, and you get paid in a timely manner, and everything
yeah.
is no back and forth on your splits, and just everything went smoothly. Oh, that's a beautiful situation. It's kind of rare. I hate to say,
It's
but
very
and there's
What's
so
up?
many different types of bullshit that come your way. This time it's this type of bullshit. Next time it's this. So Yeah, Luke is absolutely right. You need to have as much of a safety net as you can. Him saving up 3 months, that was smart. And even 3 months, like that's not even a lot for real, for real. You know what I mean?
Right.
Thank God it worked out for Luke.
Yep.
But like, yeah, man, it like he said, you go 4 or 5 months without getting paid. Or people you think you're getting paid up until a certain point, then you find out otherwise. Like you're not even included in the splits. Like, it gets crazy.
It
So
gets,
you better
That's
be prepared for sure.
and
It's
that's why
definitely
you
all
have that
set.
legal side on hand
Yep.
as well.
That's right.
Exactly. Goes back to that in the Wild Wild West aspect of every day, right? Last, I want you to quickly just, if you had to tell everyone between yourself and all the producers you've been around and songwriters for yourself, what were the most profitable sources within the industry aside from major placements that you were able to diversify and leverage? Would you say it was the sound kits and everything else?
Starting off, the sample packs were cool. Getting sync is cool as well. But I think right now, what I'm seeing for myself is the fact that um, teaching is
Mm.
really big. One thing that we've all had a problem with, at least I feel like all of us are. I'm 35. How old are you, man?
I'm 23. I know it
Yeah,
doesn't seem like
youngin. You're a youngin. But I'll say this: if we had people teaching us these things earlier in life, we would have gravitated towards that with the knowledge, a whole lot quicker. My whole thing now is teaching people that I didn't have as a teacher at first. So YouTube is the only way. Now we have situations like Soundmind that people can give you the information ahead of time. So for me, teaching is a value in itself. It's a big diversifying situation. You can go into schools, you can go to colleges, you can start your own one-on-ones. But that's why I love Soundmind. Soundmind is giving people a chance to see other things. I didn't have places to just have, just interviews right there that I could click and like, oh man, there goes a Grammy Award winner. Right. Most of
Yep.
my was learning as I go. So now that we do have YouTube and that's cool, but now we have a structured place where you have a foundation to do that. So Soundmind is motherfucking great. But for me, as I said, teaching is a big aspect. Financially is great, but you feel good and rewarding the inside because now you're building new producers. And I'll say
Mm-hmm.
that, I always got to shout out. So C Gutta is my mentor. And I will say I've learned so much from him with this whole situation. And the human factor that we've had a chance to grow together has turned into Grammy nominations, number ones, situations with artists I never thought I'd be able to reach, that I've always had in my mind to reach out to. But
Okay.
that was him teaching me. So now I have to teach somebody. And Soundmind is teaching other people as well. So if
Yep.
you learn something, don't hold it. Cause if your hand is held like this, you can't reach out for something even yourself. Be the
uh,
person that reaches down, brings up, and also reach up yourself.
yeah, man, that's beautiful, man. I couldn't have put it better myself because
Yeah.
that was where the whole kind of inspiration came from. And we love having every one of you and all of us as partners as a part of this because for me, having those conversations with Chelly with Jordan from back in the day when it was just casual conversations and just talking about the industry was teaching me so much that I was like, man, if we set out with a direction to start having these conversations just in
Oh
front
yeah.
of the audience, the right people will find that stuff and we'll skyrocket with it. And all we hope is that they're part of the right community, the right sides, and that's why I'm glad to be doing more and more of these. We got to keep these rolling because, like you said, every we can do a conversation like 2 3 days and there's a new topic that comes up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, hey man.
Yeah, like yourself, I want to give a big shout out. I know Jordan's not here, but a big shout out to both Chelly and C as well, and Jordan for how everything came together the last year. I feel like now full circle, we're able to, like you said, start teaching these things forward. For yourself, now we're talking about some real stuff. For yourself, what ethical boundaries recently have you put on yourself when it comes to the music that you work on, the collaborative partnerships that you have? How do you approach the ethical stuff that's going around socially, music industry wise? I know it's a little bit of a gray area, but
Oh
how do
man.
you approach that?
I'll say this. In just life in general, the only expectations you should have are the expectations on yourself. If you start putting expectations of what you think somebody else is going to do for you, you are, I can cuss on this, you're a fucking mistaken. So Once you realize that the expectations are only on you, you can start moving a certain way. Have a standard and moral you live by. If you do that, you'll start treating people a certain way. And if they treat you wrong, you don't ever let it be excused. You let it be seen and you move accordingly. So my biggest thing is this. I'm all about equality of what needs to be done on things. Equality doesn't mean it's going to be the same amount, but if it is the same amount and you tell me it's going to be this, I believe it's going to be that. I've had situations where certain things weren't what was said and agreed on wasn't what it was. And when it came to a point to where I could have had revenge and took more than I could have took the whole situation, I lived by my standards, which was if this is what we said we was gonna go by, this is what we're gonna go by. And another analogy, a tree is known by the fruit that it bears. If I do so much fucking good, people are gonna understand that I'm gonna treat them a certain way. If you see bad shit on the other side, don't expect to get something great from bad shit. But also be aware that your idols, the people that you hold to a high aesthetic, you can't expect them to be what you think they are without knowing who they are on the first side. There's always a human aspect. The human aspect is when you finally get around them and you start hearing some fucked things or weird, obscure things. Don't put your expectations. They're good. They're going to be great with me. Always go in there with a free mind and an open mind. But also know that anything can happen. As long as you can bear your own self and have the morals that you want from it, then you can go back and forth with stuff that might not seem right for you and say, hey, I know you're trying to pull the wool over me. I stand by this. Stand for something,
Yep.
don't be goofy. Just I'm sorry, just goofy. A lot of
No,
crazy
man.
stuff is going to happen because it's the wild, wild west. People believe what you shoot, what you keep, what you kill is what you get to keep. Even if
Yep.
they had help and people providing the gun for them to shoot it, you got to make sure you stand for something, because people are going to treat you whatever way that you project on yourself. You can be shy, you can be quiet, but also know that if these people are bigger than you still have to play the game with them. And you gotta let them know that I'm playing as well, and it's not just all. Have a standard that you go by and stick by that standard. And you might have to dance a little bit, but stay by your standard regardless.
Very good point right there. I want a little tiny elaboration. So would you say your tactic is veering away when you see some stuff that you don't agree with, or standing up to make a point about who you are as a person? How do
My
you approach it?
my thing is I have to stand up by it. If you told me a certain percentage of your person, I believe in that percentage. I'm not gonna let you lower it down to 80% down and stuff like that. I gotta stand by my standard of things. And the thing is, not everybody is gonna be your friend at the end of this situation. There's gonna be a lot of producers that you get a chance to work with, and it's strictly business. Some
Mm-hmm.
people don't want the human or the personal aspect of things. You can't get mad at that. These people see hundreds of people every day, and just because you work with them doesn't mean that you get to chill at their house with them. It doesn't work like that. So, with that being said, you have to realize that if it's business,
Mm-hmm.
but do good business. If they're doing,
Yep.
stand on your good business regardless. Now, of course, there's give and take. There's pull with everything to make things work. Not everything is just going to be is this way or the highway. It
Uh-huh.
could be, but in the end, you got to see all the other intricacies on the other side. Let's say you have a problem with somebody in Rock Nation and you don't want to, you know, negotiate. You might blackball yourself from working with Jay-Z, Beyonce, Rihanna, and all these other people. If you're playing the game, you got to play the game. There's going to be
Mm-hmm.
some fouls that you have to, some fouls that you have to give, but
Mm-hmm.
stay the player that you came in the game as. You know,
Mm.
that's what I can say about that.
Nah, beautiful, man, beautiful. I think it got to the point for everyone. Obviously, people can go about it however way they like. But speaking about impact, how do you approach certain projects and people like Killer Mike that you know are gonna come out with a message and come out with an influence with music that you're making for those kind of things? Do you put a little bit of different umph in it? What kind of a spiritual preparation do you do for stuff like
So, a lot of times there's a lot of records that I've had a chance to co-produce on that I don't know what's going on the other side. But when it comes to records that I actually know who I'm trying to pinpoint and work with, um, I look at the aspects of what don't they have. Because if they're getting all this same stuff all the time, I can't give them nothing new. So I try to look at what don't they have, what do I want to hear them on, and what do they usually do. So you might have situations where you approach a track like, hey, this person needs an anthem. They never had an anthem in their life. Let me get in the zone. I try to place myself in the situation that I'm in, or that I want to imagine for the listeners. If I know that I want this artist anthem, I got to think about arena things. I got to think about big stadiums. I got to think about theater. If I want to have a love song be made, I got to think, hey, how can I get this girl to my bedroom? Or how can I take this person out somewhere and now we're having a great conversation that leads to something bigger? Like, I think once you start putting yourself in the aspects of the music that you want to be portrayed, you'll start cutting out all the stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, there's been plenty of times with, beginner producers really good on trap beats. And this is my R&B beat. And it just sounds like trap with a slower tone to it. Sometimes we don't do the proper planning for it. Does this sound like something that I would want to be with a girl with, or try to romance something? If it's not, find out those aspects. Put yourself in that arena. What do you listen to in the first place when you're trying to do certain things?
Yep.
And then you go from there and you start building foundation. Then you start building the rooms. The rooms can look whatever fucking way you want to look, but get the foundation first. You're not going to build a swing set is not going to have the same foundation as a fucking house. It's going to be different, but aspects that made their foundation, then you can have your imagination go forward out. So yeah,
the biggest thing you said on that was kind of reverse engineering a feeling.
Yes.
Being like, not what have they, because most people want to make something that they've already heard, the type beat phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
Rather being like, no, what would I want this person that I'm a fan of? What would I want them on? Let me reverse engineer this feeling that they're going for and start from the other aspect of it and then build backwards.
Exactly.
People think about production that way.
Yeah, they don't, man. Being a fan of music and wanting to be the person that makes the music is always like a conflict. But you got to remember, like, if McDonald's is already being made, I can't make a Big Mac. Maybe I got to make a Whopper. Maybe I got to make I don't know if you're in LA, you got to make In and Out, whatever the fuck In and Out makes. But you got to diversify. Thing is, it's still going to be beef. It's still going to be hamburger buns. How do you make your version or something completely you? So yeah, reverse engineering, find out what the foundation is, and start building the stuff that makes it yours. It's there for everybody. It's just that we can't get caught on to one thing all the time.
Yeah, man, a little bit of insight in terms of how I think I got my mentality. I taught myself music by the ear by reverse engineering every song that I heard, taking a part of a Metro track and be like, how did this hi-hat pattern go? How did the clap pattern go? How did the melody in the back go? And then doing that with every single producer, every single artist, every single track. And it's a very underrated tactic. One of the things that we do talk about in the Soundmind course. But before I hop off the interview with you, I'd love to kind of see, where do you think the music industry is headed in the next 5 to 10 years, and how do you see new artists and producers preparing for these changes? How should they do it?
Okay, so I will say this: if everybody's been looking around, you're dealing with streaming problems, AI problems, publishing and rights problems. I think first thing you have to do, you got to know, you got knowledge. It's hard. I know people don't want to read books. People don't want to take the time. So as a producer, as an artist, excuse me, y'all, get the knowledge. Get the knowledge first. But then after that, leverage your talent. If you're an artist, build catalog first. Because one, millions of people haven't heard you yet. I got this many songs. Go ahead, make more songs first. Have a plan. If you only got 20 songs, make 40. Make 60 before you come out. And guess what? Maybe with your 40 or 60, let's just say 40. Make 4-song EPs. People get used to your palette first. People weren't used to Four Loko when it first came out. They had to first get samples, and then they started making commercials, and then they started making commercials with parties, and it grew. So it has to be like that with your music. Make 4 songs. If you got 40 made, make 4-song EPs. Now you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All up. You got 10. You got 10 projects.
Yep.
Start working on the promotional side as well.
Yep.
As a producer, find your artist. As much as everybody says that shit is real, the reason why you like Future, and he has Future beats, is because he has Metro making beats with him, or ATL Jacob or whoever. But they have their own producers with them on these tracks. And we love these artists because we know that these producers are going to be behind it. Tight beats of the artists are really the tight beats of the producer. So make catalog. Be prepared to have a promotional outlook for yourself in general. If you're a producer, have your own artists. Make that 40 EP, 4-song EP of 40 tracks. Make that plan. Make a plan for how you're going to actually present yourself to the industry. A lot of people don't want to on the other side of the fence because they believe it's scary. If you see certain things happening, do certain things at work. Give you an example. We all know how DJ Mustard sounds with his beats when he first came out, right? Needed Me does not sound like DJ Mustard's beats. Nope. But he had to grow and evolve. So maybe he found a better writer. Maybe he found somebody that could teach him or collab with other producers that could give him that sound that sounded more EDM-ish. But what he did was he figured out an algorithm. He said, you know what? I'm going to do this for a while, stack up on this. And when the first one works, I have 5 or 7 or 8 other ones I can use with it. Needed Me does not sound like Paranoid or my nigga. But he learned from that. He said, I got to get bigger. I can't just stay in this one box. It works, but it's going to stop working at a certain time. I got to do something better. Figure out what works, but then add the other stuff that makes your tools better. If you're motherfucking good at cutting trees, maybe you should also know how to bag the trees up and put it in decompost and let it be squashed down and shit. But these are things that you have to learn and prepare for. The industry is going to always evolve. And if you're not evolving with it, it's not going to work for you. So you might have to tell yourself, I'm really good at producing, but I don't make good hooks. Find that rapper, artist you're working with. Say, you know what? A few of these songs are yours, a few of these other songs are hooks that I can go present to the industry. And the industry has a way of working. Act like you've been to the party before.
Fake it till you make it.
Not even fake it till you make it. Just like there. You might not know anybody at the party, but if you go get you a beer or something to drink and you go talk to people, they're going to be like, oh, you know what's going on here. I don't. Yeah. At least I look like it. And now,
like my guy 5 Mike says, don't fake it till you make it. Faith it till you make it. You feel me?
Faith it. Yeah. Nah.
Take the step. You have to take the step. And you have to do different. Equivalent exchange. You have to give up something of equal energy to get that other thing. So if you're a bedroom producer, if you're somebody that has a little anxiety, work on little steps of doing something different with it. I don't like being out of state. Guess what? Go out for 2 days if you can't do a week. Now, if you do that for 4 times out, maybe now you can do a week. Because not only have you got comfortable of traveling, met those people in that state that you leverage your talent with and build real relationships with. So when you finally go back again, they're like, okay, come on. Oh, you staying out a week now? Guess what? We got somewhere for you to stay. We got all this for you ready. Start small, but start. You have to start.
Yeah. That's the concept of the Kaizen, man. Continuous evolution. Even if it's little by little, I believe in that heavily. I don't think you should jump for 100 steps at once. Little by little, work out the comfort zones that you have. A last thing I wanted to end off on, because something that changed my life and something that changed how I looked at the industry and how I even wanted to do these interviews. There was a J. Cole interview from back in the day that he talked about how he felt it was with Angie Lee. When he talked about how it felt after getting all the things he ever wanted. buying his mama a house, buying himself a house, buying the chain, getting everything that he always thought was the pinnacle of the industry, the biggest hits, being the biggest artist, the #1 song with no platinum, with no features, double platinum,
Yeah.
everything that he could have ever wanted, and he still felt unhappy. I want you to take a moment to kind of reflect on every single moment that's made you the proudest so far. And I know that you have a long journey ahead to keep having more and more proud moments, but how has that shaped in your mind what success means to you? I feel like for me, seeing someone on the other end really helped me make the right decisions so I don't chase the wrong thing.
Yeah. I like that J. Cole interview. One thing that I can say that I'm working on now, and anybody that sees me on here, reach out and I got time, I'll talk to you. But I want to tell you this. One thing that I was so adamant about was the work. Work complete, work complete, work complete, work complete. And I've had a hard time with celebrating the things that happen. With this Grammy thing, I had like a little small situation, but I didn't have a party. My first wins of like nominations, billboards, I always say I gotta do more work. I gotta get better. I gotta get better. The travel is what real success is. You know, don't keep on climbing the mountain and not get the valley you got out. And guess what? The fact that you got these things, not the end all. There's times with your family and people around you that want to experience these things with you. So gain all these plaques and accomplishments and placements, but also enjoy the shit that comes around it. You'll remember the times where you only had enough gas to get to one place and sleep somewhere, and you got back and you tell all your buddies, "Oh, it worked out." Blah 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 blah. I think everybody can say the experiences are what made the moments of getting the accomplishment a whole lot amazing. It made it better. It made it sweeter. If you always appreciate, you don't really accept it and look at it as high as something that you work. Once you get it, revel in that shit. I mean, nobody else is gonna be your biggest fan than yourself. So success for me is not just accomplishing what I set out to do, but also realizing that it affects other people and that I need to celebrate these moments, man. And I think that will make you think of the next goal. A lot of people say the goal is getting a Grammy. It happened now. One thing I can tell everybody is that I woke up and I felt the same way that I felt yesterday. I was happy, but I woke up, I felt the same way. My back hurt getting out the bed. But the thing was, what made it sweeter was that the people that called were my family, were my friends, it was my mentors. Like I got calls from C Gutta and Chill, and it was like, man, they were so happy that it happened. And I started getting emotional. I had to tell them all the mentoring and the real relationships that we built, the great words and all this stuff made it more sweeter because those were experiences. Enjoy the goals, but enjoy the experiences that come with the goals. Don't get caught just making beats all day. I made this beat, I made this beat, I made this beat. Get out in the world. Enjoy the memories and the stuff around what you're doing. And it's gonna make everything else sweet.
That's great
Man,
advice right there.
There you go.
that's it. I think that was a perfect lead way to another conversation. We got to get into a little bit more spiritual stuff because I know it's a big influence and impact on you and how you took everything to another level. But that's beautiful, man. People have to definitely realize that it's sharing the experiences. That's I think what gave me a big smile on my face
Oh
because I
yeah,
could see it. I could see the joy in you because you're like the best part was putting everything down and spending the time with everyone else, hearing it from
yeah,
everyone else, not just looking at my phone to see what the world thinks, but what the people that mean the most think. Beautiful.
exactly.
But again, really appreciate you for taking such an amazing time, man. That was an hour-long organic, it
Man,
just
it
flew
was
like it
good.
was nothing.
Yeah, bro. I
I
feel like,
love it.
and I love giving the outside of the stuff, thing. We've been friends on IG for a while, and we have a chance to really talk for real. But now that this talk is happening, I know when we have dialogue and conversation after this, it's gonna be real. It's not gonna be from a place of I need this, you need that. It's gonna be a place of like, man, just what's good, you know?
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's crazy. We're talking about that stuff, but organically, me and you're doing it at the same time through this
Right.
conversation, which is a learning lesson itself for people, right? It's like me and you are taking that even though we've never had this conversation, taking that extra step to be like, hey man, we haven't talked, but let's jump in front of a camera, put
Yeah,
the record on, and let's do it. Which I really appreciate you, man. I think I am so excited to keep having conversations with you every couple of weeks, tapping in, seeing what we can
yeah,
do to
man.
keep pushing the message forward, bro. I appreciate you heavily.
Man, I appreciate you. Real relationships build real results, and getting
Feel me?
the knowledge is so fucking important. Guess where you can get the knowledge at? Sound.
Soundmind.
There you
And
go.
Gutta Muzik, man. Gutta Muzik, man. Shout out Gutta Muzik.
Oh yeah,
Guys, like, this is gonna be crazy. Like, everything, we're gonna be sourcing it through the Gutta Muzik website, through the building, bringing people back there, being able to tell both stories, man. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. I've learned so much just from all of the conversations I've had with all of you individually and the stories of what you guys have gone. Now it's my job as a little bit of a newer generation, and Luke, you as well, pushing this thing forward into the digital world, telling these stories and helping people learn from it the same way me and you have had.
oh
Well, you
man.
longer than myself.
Hey man, I feel old as fuck, man. I'm 35, man. I don't know what you're talking about me pushing. I'm just playing.
No, bro, like, I
Man,
wouldn't have guessed. I swear, I wouldn't have even pushed past 30, bro. I wouldn't have pushed past 30. So
no
you got to
man.
give me the skin routine later, man.
Nah, Luke got the baby face, man.
I'll say this. I believe I'm pushing through as well, man, to what's gonna be new in the future of music. And then I got really great mentors. I got really good people, and they're basically like brothers, man. I think I'm not gonna get on their age. We the same age, but I've learned so much from these people that have been in this game for over 15, 20 years because of real relationships. And I think everybody's going to be able to look at these interviews, take key components, and use it for their lives as well. So I'm all for it, man.
We
I
gotta
tell
keep
you
this
what.
rolling, man.
I tell you what they can take, boy. Luke killed them with the analogies tonight.
Nah,
Killed them
he
with the
killed that shit. I ain't
analogies.
gonna
I'm
lie.
talking about kept them coming. Nah,
Hey,
you painted the picture though. That's great shit, man. Great shit.